Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for signing in this morning. As you can imagine, we are coming to an end of the school year. We have 2 weeks left of school and we have to finish strong. Remember that quarter 4 is also coming to an end, so we need to make sure that we're keeping up with the extra credit, that we're doing everything that we can to help our grade. If you're not satisfied with your grade and you feel like you need more extra credit, please make sure to message me and let me know so I can help you out. I'm here to help you. Just make sure that you're reaching out to me, because if you're not reaching out, there's nothing I can really do. And if you're not submitting the extra credit that I'm already giving, then there's not really much that I can do. Our style of the class is going to change a little bit. For the rest of this week, we are going to be moving a little bit faster with the readings. I will give you supplemental summary pages where you can, if you haven't caught up with the book, you can go there and read summaries of the book. But we need to make sure that we know at least the main idea of the book and what's happening, because we will have a big assignment, a big test on Wednesday that will stay open from Wednesday to Friday. We're also going to take RenStar this week. So for those of us that don't remember what RenStar is, it's a test that is trying to see where our abilities are right now at the end of the school year. It gives us an idea of how to help you at the beginning of next year and where the gaps are that we need to help you close. So I will be posting a reminder or a post where I'm going to explain how to do the RenStar. That will be open starting today all the way to Wednesday at 11:59. So you're going to have 3 days to complete the RenStar, which is really quick. You shouldn't take that long. I don't think it should be longer than an hour or two. And this is a site from our work. So make sure that you complete the RenStar as soon as possible. If you do complete the RenStar, I will be giving 50 extra points. So make sure that you let me know whenever you get it done. And I can also verify. So let's move on with lesson 20. The way that we're going to approach our lessons now, since we're coming to the end of the semester, is my videos are going to be just reviews of the summaries of the book. So we're trying to get done with the book hopefully by Wednesday. So when you have to start on your assignment, we can have that done by then, and you won't struggle when it comes to the big assessment. So just make sure that you're keeping up with the readings, that if you have questions, you're reaching out, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. In this book, we're going to cover chapter 20, 21, 22, and 23. So we're going to cover 4 chapters that I assigned over the weekend. We're going to start off with chapter 20. So as you can remember, in chapter 18 and 19, they're just kind of explaining the situation that leads up to how Grandpa dies. And now chapter 20 starts off with that morning when Grandpa's going to get buried. And Maddie's really, really sad about what's happening. And she's the only one that gets to bury Grandpa because she still doesn't know where her mom is. And she's fighting back the tears, and she's just trying to find the man that carries the dead bodies so he can take his grandpa's body to the burial site. And she just helps push the heavy cart. So if you remember the very beginning, the man that drops the mom at the beginning of the house at the front of the coffee shop when she gets the yellow fever, that's the same man that Maddie's trying to flag down so he can take Grandpa's body. So at the burial square, Grandpa's wrapped in body canvas, and they're preparing him to put him in the open grave. And Maddie stops them just so she can read a prayer very quickly for him. After the burial, Maddie wanders through the streets of Philadelphia. She's really sad. She's trying to figure out what her next step is, who's going to take care of her. At this point, she's alone. And she's trying to figure out, do I go to an orphan house? Do I return to Bush Hill, to the hospital? And she's still hungry, and she doesn't have any food or any resources. So she tries to go to the market, and unfortunately, she doesn't find anything. And then, since the fever has been getting crazy, the farmers have not really been able to keep up with their food, and they can't really bring it in. So there's nothing to eat. And Matilda is walking, and she finds Mr. Brown, a friend of grandfather's, and she's asking if he can place an advertisement to see if she can find her mother, but Mr. Brown just tells her that they've really like narrowed down the paper, like there's really small, not really a lot of people working on it, and they only use it to post like notifications by the mayor or anything that the physicians have to say. Maddie wanders around the street and eventually decides that she needs to get herself together. So now she's thinking like an adult. She's trying to understand what her situation is and just do the best that she can. And she runs into a whimpering child with a broken doll, and it just kind of reminds her of her situation and how she's the broken doll and how she's alone too. So she takes in the kid. So we're moving on to chapter 21. So the young child that Maddie finds, their name is Nell, and her mother's a victim of the fever too. So the kid is an orphan. After knocking on a few doors, Matilda is advised by the neighborhood to find 2 women delivering care baskets. So she's trying to figure out like what can I do with the kid. So she's trying to find those women so they can take the kid. And she heads to Fifth Street. And she catches a glimpse of a woman who she thinks she recognizes as Elisa. So if you remember who Elisa is, she's the free slave that used to work with them at the coffee shop. So Matilda and Nell try to follow the woman who they think is Elisa, but end up getting harassed by a drunk in front of a tavern. But they still try to like follow along, and they're led to the Free African Society. And they go into the street and they start hollering like the Elisa's name, and soon the doors open and they realize that it is her friend. So she got really lucky and she was able to run into her friend. So she finally finds someone who she knows, and now she's with Nell. So in chapter 22, Elisa and Maddie come back together, and they're all super relieved to have each other. But Matilda has been going through a lot, so she sees her and she starts crying and like just telling her like what the situation is. You still have to remember that she's small. It's a lot of things to worry about, a lot of stress that she's gone through, and it's normal for her to cry. So as the night is falling, Elisa takes Matilda to her brother's house. So if you remember, Elisa used to live with her brother, and there she gets to meet Joseph, the brother, and his 2 twin sons, Robert and William. So before they get there, Matilda gives Elisa a short version of the way that Grandpa died. But on a happier note, Elisa does tell Matilda that her mother recovered from the fever, so her mom is not dead. And as far as she knows, her mom just went and looked for her at the farm. She went behind Matilda and grandfather to go find them in the farm. But of course they're not there no more, so we'll see where mom ends up. So once everyone's asleep, Matilda tells Elisa the whole story and how she's abandoned in the country, the robbers, the bureau, everything. And Elisa brings up Nell and explains that both Matilda and the little girl should probably go to the orphanage house. But Matilda begs Elisa to not make her go. So she doesn't want to go to the orphanage. She wants to stay with Elisa. But at this point, it's a difficult situation for Elisa too. So she just tells her that they'll talk about it in the morning. So Elisa also tells her that Dr. Rush has contracted Reverend Allen to recruit black people to take care of the fever patients. So if you tie it back to an American plague, you can remember how a lot of black nurses and a lot of black people from the Free African group, they go and join the doctors and the nurses to help them out. So it's tying back something that was brought up in American Plague. So at this point, Elisa and a bunch of other free African American people are going to with the Dr. Rush, and they're helping him out. But unfortunately, Dr. Rush seems to think that black people couldn't get the yellow fever, so he's putting them at risk. So he makes this assumption that because they look different, they are not going to catch the yellow fever, which is wrong, because in the end, Elisa's friends end up very sick, and it turns out that no one is safe from the fever. So there's a lot of still unknown about the fever, and people are just trying to figure things out. So now we're moving on to chapter 23. Well, Alyssa goes out to take care of the sick. So Alyssa's taking care of children, but at the same time, when she goes out to go help the Free African group, she swaps positions with Mother Smith, who comes in to take care of the children. She's a tough old woman that makes Matilda wash the dishes and beat the rugs like crazy, so she's super strict. And before she leaves that evening, Mother Smith just warns Matilda not to start like getting attached to Nell, that even though she really wants to be there for her, it would be cruel because she just lost her mom, and if they take her away or if something happens or Matilda can't take care of her, it's going to be even more cruel. So even though she hates the idea, Matilda realizes that Mother Smith is right. So the next day, Matilda and Elisa take Nell to the orphan house, and the woman who answers the door is completely swapped with children. So if you remember, a lot of kids their parents are dying to the yellow fever. So there's a lot of kids who are left without parents, and this house that they have for the kids who are orphans is getting filled up, and like there's not people to take care of them. So the woman tells Matilda that the orphan house is better than the street, but asks if there's maybe someone who could keep Nell for the time being. So she's trying to see if maybe she can take care of Nell, because they don't have enough space or enough food or anything to really accommodate. And then she phrases that the orphan house has become, in her words, the house of last resorts. So Matilda, with the approval of Elisa, she decides to keep Nell with her for the moment. And back home, Elisa becomes an official part of the family. So Mother Smith moves on to help the family of 8 that have just lost her mother. So Maddie's helping out at home and at the Free African Society where Elisa works. So pretty much what's happening now, it's like Maddie's trying to take everything bad that has happened in her life, and she's just trying to help each other, help others, help the people that she knows, help the people that she doesn't know. And she takes in this small child named Nell, and she's trying to hopefully hear back from her mom, see what happens, and that's kind of like where the chapter leaves off. So tomorrow we will be covering chapters 24, 25, and 26. So make sure that you read those 3 chapters from Fever 1793 as soon as possible. They're very short chapters, so you should be able to get it done quickly. And also make sure you complete the attendance form. As for an American Plague, make sure that you're in chapter 13. We will be taking an AR test on the books next week, so we need to make sure that we get everything done. So just make sure that for this week, you complete the Run Star as soon as possible. You also finish you keep up with your readings, because we will have the assessment on Wednesday, and that's going to be pretty much our project for the rest of the week. And then next week we'll just take our AR test, and then after that week, time's up. So just make sure that you keep working hard. We're in a time crunch, so just make sure that you're doing everything that you can, that you're reaching out if you need help. And hopefully we'll have a live class on Wednesday, so I can explain to you the assessment and I can answer any questions we have. And we'll see, depending on what grades we have, we'll see if maybe I put any extra credit assignments for the weekend. So I'll let y'all know, but hopefully everything turns out good. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.